Hey, folks, welcome back to more than a refresh T3D sessions and specifically Postgres Pet Peeves. Today we have Justin Graf, a fellow off grid lunatic. Justin, what is your Postgres Pet Peeve?
Oh, it'd be XIDs.
Oh, they're not as bad as they were.
Uh, they're a gigantic word if you have a high volume database, and that's all the clients that I work with are high volume. And
Okay, well, that's most of the clients we work with, but
well,
what?
we got one client that literally has rotated almost 20 times in the 2.5 years we've had them.
So let me ask you this. So for those that don't know, XIDs are the transaction ID. They used to be global.
They
And
still
worse,
they
we
still are
had them.
global. They're still
What?
global. They're still
No, they're
global.
per table now.
No, you still have no. It's still 4 billion. You're
Well,
around at
4
four
billion
billion.
between, well, yes, between a vacuum per object, right? They're not global per the catalog, are they?
Yeah, they're still 4 billion.
Oh, well, that's just short-sighted. We should make them 8-bit versus 4-bit.
Well, they're 4 billion, and they've been 4 billion forever. So you have to go around and vacuum everything, and we have clients that rotate through that 4 billion. Now they have done a partial implementation to 64-bit, and it has a counter off to the side, and you can go look at that. It's 64-bit partially, but in the tables themselves, there's the XID still 32-bit, and that sucks because when you have clients that have high activity tables and they rotate through them, vacuum is a huge overhead. And on a high update database, it's better. Vacuum has drastically improved. Vacuum is not
Yeah.
nearly the pain. And in every version since 9.6, it has gotten better and better and better. 9.6 made big changes, and they
Yes, it
keep
did.
making changes. But if this goes back to XIDs is the way we did that, the way we structured MVC going back almost 40 years ago. It's way past time we moved past it. There's people working on a new table layout that would have gotten us off of XIDs, but that's kind of stagnant. It hasn't done anything. I think it was called Z heap or something like that somebody was
Yeah.
working on.
It would have
And
it would have removed vacuum requirements as well.
yes, it would have. It would have moved. It would have done something similar to Oracle does, and that is the rollback. It sits in a different table. It doesn't sit in that same table. Um, but unfortunately, that's just kind of like stalemated to the point it doesn't. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But
Well, it won't because if I remember correctly, it was started by like Pivotal, which bought VMware after VMware spun off Pivotal. Thank you, Michael Bell. Um, and then when VMware, I mean, one, it's a big project. Let's
yes,
be
it is.
let's be on it. I mean, we have to be
That's
fair, and to be fair, that's a huge project
yes, that is a huge project.
to do it right. But I also don't think that there is the stomach for it anymore, which is why it died. And this is why. Number one, if you go to Amazon and you say, "Hey, I keep running into this problem with RDS," they're going to say, "Well, call command prompt; they can help you." And then they call us, and we fix it like we have been for clients for
Mhm.
years. But the solution, of course, is to move off Postgres, which is another huge project.
Right.
Right? We're working around limitations of problems that have existed for as long as you've been alive.
Yeah. Well, like almost. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm a little older than Postgres. I'm a few
Yeah.
years older.
Well, it depends on how far you go back in the lineage, right? I mean, Ingress.
No, I predate. I was born in '79. I was born in '79.
Oh, I thought you were a little younger than that. I mean, you look
No.
good, man. You look good. It's what off-grid life does to us. It makes us older men look so good. Uh,
You forgot how old
so
I was.
Yeah, I did. Well, frankly, I didn't even know. I knew you were in your 40s. That's all I knew. But okay. So XIDs, and really, we should move them to 8-bit. And moving them to 8-bit as a whole shouldn't be that big of a project, right? It really
Uh,
shouldn't.
no, but it would make the binary upgrade path impossible.
Well, but so what? We have
Yeah.
other paths, right? And
Yeah.
the binary
Logical.
upgrade path, really,
Wait.
nobody's using the binary upgrade path that has any kind of uptime requirements. They're all using
That's
logical
true.
replication and switchover now.
But yeah, that once we got logical replication, the argument for binary compatibility went out the window. Okay, just it's gone. so we can do logical. But yeah, we need to do something there. I know the biggest complaint is because that's going to quite literally the header section quite literally you remember
Yeah,
get
it
two
will make it
XIDs.
yeah, it'll make it huge.
You've increased it a lot. You've added 64 bits to the each row, and a lot of people don't want that. But I think realistically, the vacuum problem with roll around, that's a big
Well,
problem.
at
And
this
we can do a
point, you'd
lot.
almost gotta ask yourself, why don't they just make it, configurable at compile time, right? So,
Yeah,
you have a situation where, for those who are still on limited resources, right? And I think this is a fair thing to do because most of the world doesn't have 32 gig in their laptop and certainly not 256 gig in their server, right?
yeah,
That's fair. Okay. And if you're talking about South America, Central America, you're talking about Africa, you're talking about most of Asia, you're talking about the Eastern Bloc of Europe. These are, from a people perspective, these are people that are working with less resources than the
yes,
very rich Western world. Okay.
yes.
So make it fucking configurable compile time. Let me download,
Hmm.
you know, RPM install PostgreSQL, 18/XID8.
Yeah.
And then I've got 64-bit, everything.
Yeah,
Uh,
it means you can kick the can down the road on cleaning up your tables. You don't have to be as aggressive. All those type of things, and you don't have freeze. Freeze is a big deal because you have to touch every row. So instead of just,
and it's locking.
yeah, yeah, you completely eliminate freezing. Although on the latest version, freeze is not nearly the thing, but the mindset that you have to deal with every time you have a technical problem with locks or something else going on. Oh, it has to be vacuum's fault. It must be vacuum's fault. I'm like, no, 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 vacuum gets out of the way on its own. It's very good about that.
It is now.
And yeah, 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 that's prior to 9.6. But every time I get in a technical debate with some technical problem that a client comes up with us, and they want to blame vacuum right off the bat, and I'm like, it's never vacuum. It never is. It always ends up being something else because vacuum will get out of the way. It goes to sleep. It only does a little
Yeah,
work at a time.
when it goes to sleep, and if it encounters something that's blocking it or that needs it to be blocked, it will kill itself.
Yeah,
It's but there are. I'm not sure about incorrect. Please correct me if my knowledge is outdated here because I haven't looked recently. But one of the issues, of course, is that we didn't have partial vacuum.
that's correct. That was
And is
correct.
that still
That got
true?
changed. That was 9.6. No, no, we got partial vacuum with 9.6. That was the big
No, we
change.
didn't.
No,
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 we
wait, yes,
didn't.
we did.
No, 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 no,
'Cause-
no. Partial vacuum. Last I checked, we didn't even have in like 12 or 13. Right. And what
Really?
partial vacuum is that an auto vacuum is working on a heap,
Mhm.
and when it gets blocked, it commits the work that it did.
Correct. We
Right.
have
And
that.
then so the next time it comes back, I guess probably when we got the dead space map, that was part of it. And I
I
don't
thought
know
that was
when that
nine
was.
six. That's the free space map. That gets all recorded there. That was 9.6. I'm pretty sure that's 9.6.
Yeah. Well, we can double check, but
Yeah.
I'm all but positive we do not have partial. I mean, at least not until recently. And 9.6 was not recent.
No, yeah. Well, we have the free space map. It uses that to figure out where it needs to vacuum and how much it needs to vacuum. But free still comes on and has to do that occasionally.
Right, and that's true, but what I'm talking about is for a long time, and I don't know if this is the case now, but auto vacuum fires up, it's in the middle of processing, let's say a billion row table, which if you have a
Mhm.
billion row table, please hire us, you're doing it wrong. But if you got a billion row table and it's gotten through 30%, okay, so you're right, vacuum now knows definitely, we're in agreement, of what it needs to clean.
Yes.
Right, but it's doing that. It's not doing that in microtransactions. It's doing it in a global or in a
No.
whole
No. No.
transaction.
No. No. It's progressive. It is
It
progressive.
is now. That's what I was looking for because I know, but that wasn't as of 9.6. And
Uh,
9.6, I guarantee you, if that auto vacuum got killed, you lost all that work.
I
It
don't.
would roll it
It's
back.
been too many years. I don't remember. It's been too many years.
Well, I
But
mean, yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
it's
we're on 18 now. 9.6 was fucking
10 years ago.
over a decade ago,
Yeah.
right?
My I don't remember what version that was, but now it is progressive now because you can kill it and it'll pick up right where it left off. And we also have like 12 or
And that's
13.
huge. That's a huge improvement.
That was what really kicked the can down the road on this problem But my issue is that people who constantly have to deal with you have this constant resource that is freezing, and not only marking just dead tuples and updating the free space one, what vacuum also does, but you have this constant process in the background freezing the previous rows. And that boy is always running on a high database. And so you have this constant guy just eating resources on even a big one. And you have to have when you start getting into your terabyte sized databases, you got to deal with him. And of course, when you do now, they've also added some other abilities over the years, like if you do a copy, when you bulk load your data, you can tell it pre-freeze it, so all your data comes pre-frozen, which is nice because then you don't have to deal with this huge avalanche event if you do bulk data loading. Um, there's things that they've done to mitigate this, but these are all mitigation things, and that's my complaint is the freezing stage, because XID will wrap around, and we got to mark it down to that lower number to follow row visibility rules. If we have a 64-bit, we're not going to bump into that in my lifetime. Nobody is going to bump into that in my lifetime.
That's exactly right. People don't. It's kind of like the whole thing of how many seconds is in a million versus how many seconds is in a billion.
Yeah.
Right. People don't understand the exponential difference. And with that, folks, this is another T3D session and Postgres Pet Peeves. Postgres, if you're listening, please be a little more forward thinking, because this has been a problem for decades.